welcome back. So this next part is going to be really time consuming. I'm not going to make a full video this go around of the outer layering, just because it takes so long for glue to dry and everything like that. But what I'm going to do is give you just the basic of how I've done it. We're going to do the wrap in regular poster board. Just a standard white sheet. I think this is a 20 by 30 as well. Maybe, I don't know. It's a little bigger. Who knows? This is a standard piece. 22, 28. I got this. These are all cheap. These are $1. So what you're going to really do is glue these down in the best possible way. Now I start at the top, and that way everything that I do, all my seams are underneath. So that way on the top it's more precise looking all the way across. I have thought of the idea of using this exact same wood, the very thin stuff, putting it over and just sanding the edges, but that could lead to potential problems. I don't know, I've never done it. I think it's a cool idea. I just don't have the extra funds to throw something like that. So if you're going to do something like this, I would recommend a regular like contact cement. I would not use stuff like, I wouldn't use like a rubber cement. I wouldn't use the aerosol adhesive sprays. That's what I used on my original one, and on that I have a lot of bulging of the paper. I don't like that. The other thing I don't like is the hot glue gun. I mean, it's good for a couple spots to help hold it in place, but unless your glue is smoothed out, you're going to see all those little squiggly ridges and everything like that. And also it's durable, but if you bump it too much, it may have a potential of popping off. If that's the route you want to go, if that's a cheaper way, then you can do it. I've gone out and I picked up a little tiny can of contact cement. It cost $6. I'm currently using this for another project. But with this stuff, it does take time for it to dry. And so what you would do is you would start out with your piece, and as that dried up or began to tack up really hard, you'd constantly would take this, flipping it back and forth, getting a proper measurement, an inch up, how wide this is, measuring, cutting, working your way around this piece on both of here. I like to have a little bit hang over on the front. It's not going to be really noticeable there because we will have the cannon on the end. Wherever your seam is, I would make sure to have the paper covering the seam at least, kind of help hide that. With this, I put the paper right along this edge, so when it's folded up, it's going to go along this edge here on both sides, and then that way this will be a whole new piece from here back to here, and then this will be a final third piece on this end here. So that's what I would do if you're going to do something like this. What I would do is I would start with the very top piece first, glue that down, make sure it's dried, and then once that is dried up and hardened, flip this back around here. So once that's hardened up, then you can take your finger and push right along this edge, just so you know exactly where it is going to bend down at. And of course the same with this. go ahead and take your knife, cut those 2 straight lines there, and then that way this can fold, that can fold, and that little tiny hook can fold over and get tucked underneath the front here. So this front piece is the top. These will be underneath. The 2 sides will be underneath this top flat. And then just work around it so that way everything is nice and taut. I will take a few pictures and add it to the end of this video. It takes a long time. I'm actually short on time today, and I don't think you really want to see a video of me just sitting here waiting for this glue to tack up and dry enough to work with it. So that's the quick rundown of it. Following will be a few picture shots of each stage as I'm doing it. And good luck. I mean, this is going to be the most time-consuming piece of this entire thing. The rest of it's all maybe a half hour here, half hour there. But this part is the most time-consuming just because of the glue drying if you're using the contact cement. Same with the hot glue. You have to wait for the hot glue to dry. Otherwise, you can pop it if you don't use enough glue. If it's too hot, you have to wait for that to cool down enough to dry. So whatever you're going to use, this is what I would recommend, and a good, hour, a couple hours in the afternoon. Work on it piece by piece. Don't struggle to get it all done in one day, unless you got a whole day. Unless you got a whole day and you're not doing anything else that's fun besides crafting, then by all means do that. Today I just don't have that day. This video, I don't have that time around. So thanks for watching, and good luck. Alright, sorry, I'm back one more time really quick. If you're using this kind of stuff, even the adhesive spray, if you're using the adhesive spray, you've never used the adhesive spray before, I do recommend a pair of gloves, maybe an older long sleeve shirt, just because as you spray it, that gets through the air, and it'll make your hands and your arms and everything all really sticky for a while, and it's really annoying. The next thing, if you're going to use the contact cement, follow your instructions. This stuff is pretty potent. I do recommend having a fan in the room if you're inside, the window open, work in front of the window with the fan behind you to blow it outside. If you're outside, even better. But this is pretty strong, potent stuff. If you have a mask, wear a mask. I'm used to these type of smells in my line of work, but you want to be careful with this because it can be flammable, it can be dangerous, it can be hazardous to your health and your safety, but it works good. So that's just a quick little note. Follow your instructions, have plenty of air. Don't do this on an empty stomach from personal use. From personal experience. Don't do this on an empty stomach. It will make you very sick, no matter what. So that's what I wanted to quickly add. Again, good luck. So a quick little break here. Once you've glued down this top part where it bends down, because it's arched, that's where most people are going to have a lot of problems. And so what you're going to have to do is it's actually going to have to be cut. Your paper here on both sides, and then of course several cuts here, so the paper can wrap around this bowed area and still have the form fitting that is within this section. So I'm not sure if you can be seen on that camera, but you can see they're all folded over in this section here. One paper on the bottom, the last one comes all the way to this edge, and then it's cut, so it's supposed to fit perfectly with this one. So this paper is over in this section. A lot of this has been crumpled to kind of form fit it, which I also think it kind of looks cool once we add the color to it, because it kind of gives it more of a distinct grain in the wood. But you can see there's like a cut there as well, cut here. So the easiest way that I found to do this, set that there, is folding this up this way, so about where it starts to make the transition from off of the bow onto the paper, and that's about right there in that area here. So with that, so we put just a little mark right there, and then I'm going to take this end and fold this part up as well, and the same thing, it will go straight and then it'll start to veer off away from it, and that's where your other line wants to go. And so somewhere between right there on that piece is where we're going to have a cut. So the easiest way to do this is to glue only part of this section down, just shy of your line, about an inch or so, so that way when it's glued all the way down, you have that little bit of opening there. And then that way you can cut your paper here, and fold this other end up as well, and you only have a small little line crease. Depending on how you're going to cut it, either this direction or this direction, I would do it as an angle rather than a straight cut. It just would probably look a little better and blend in a little bit better. It's up to you how you want to cut it, but that's one of the harder parts, just because it is bowed. And so we'll want to do the two sides like that individually first. Make sure to cut off any extra that you have for the first lay, because you can see this has plenty of hair to overlap so much. So even though this is like this, I'm going to take off a good 3 inches or so here, so that the first piece isn't even near this edge. It's going to be somewhere right here. And then once this one is folded and cut it over in this way, then you can take your razor and cut right along that edge there and have a nice pristine line there. So we're going to do that. Again, it's going to go back to some pictures, and then we'll come back and we'll work on this last little piece. I'll probably do this one in a video as well, just to kind of help you out. Alrighty. So as you can see, both ends have been folded over, cut along this edge. So now we have just the tail part
to worry about. And we're going to do the same thing. Since we folded over this side first and this side second, we're going to fold over this side first, this side second. Exact same thing. That way it's all universal and folding over just nicely. So on this part, you're going to do the same thing, how it went like that. Just kind of continue your line up here so that it's even with here, and then just kind of make a little crease up the rest of the page, because what we're going to do is we're going to cut this and then use this part on several cuts to fold over to make the little lapping piece. So you want to do this to both sides. If you just glued it like 20 minutes ago, do be careful. Hold the bottom of this as well, because if you don't, you could have a tendency of still popping the glue off. It says 15-20 minutes to dry. Ideally, it needs at least a couple hours. But at least this way, you hold that, and that's taken care of. And then you kind of just know exactly where you need to cut. And then do the same thing as you did here. Take this one, fold it over, cut it shy, and then this one, take it, fold it over, cut it even with this. And once you're on this section, since you have all this extra here, we're actually going to take off this here. So when it's all folded, this line of paper only rests just barely here. So you're going to cut around this edge on these top pieces as well. So this will be cut short here. This will be cut round here, even with this. Same with this side. This will be cut here straight, and then this one will be cut around this edge as well. So that way everything's clean except for this last little piece that will be left, and we will work on that part as well. Okay, so I kind of noticed on the last video there was a little cut at the very end, so I'm going to try to stay back this way just a little bit. So you can see this has been glued here and trimmed down. This edge you don't really need to care too much, even because this is going to cover it. But what I've done to make it look good is when it's folded and it came this way, I actually took the blade on this edge and cut this way. That way there's this little tiny piece of the card poster board that hangs inside. And I'll do that on both sides. That way when this is folded up, it's going to look a lot nicer, a lot cleaner, because there's already a piece that goes underneath it. So that's what I was talking about. So fold your next one over to this edge, cut it so it's even here, and then cut around here fairly close, and do the same thing. Bring in like a little piece right here as well. And then we will work on this piece, which is pretty similar. We're going to take off here, so maybe like 2 inches are off. And for something like this, I would cut it like 1, 2, 3 times, so you have like 4 individual pieces. Kind of as even as you can. They will be folded up and over, and that way you'll have this little piece sitting on the underneath edge of just a little bit, just to kind of hide it. And so you can kind of figure out how you want to do it. If you want minimum, you want a lot on there. That part's kind of up to you. Mine are only on there maybe 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch up underneath. So that's all I'm going to do. So now that we've got these edges all cut and everything, all we have left is this one last flap, which is on the upper side, and we're going to go to the bottom. Now, what I did is I kind of went center here and marked just a line out, and then I went about halfway between here and this edge and marked another line diagonal. Same with this one, about here, about another line diagonal. And so now what you're going to do is from that edge point, we're just going to make these slices. And what that's going to allow us to do is to fold these up here. And I like to kind of just fold them up so they kind of get an already idea of where they're going to be at. Now what we're going to do is start on the edge, the two edges first. Don't worry about these being long, because what I do is I'm going to actually just trim it kind of low. So they're pretty close to this edge. So even that little tiny piece that's hanging over, I'm going to cut that as well. But just make sure you get your glue and just work on from the outside into the middle. Now if you want to do more than just these 4 pieces, you want to do smaller cuts to make it look a little bit better. It'll be a little bit more difficult, but it should be a little bit better result. I might as well just add glue to these ones too while I'm here. These are just kind of in my way, so I'm going to take a good part of it off, leaving a good section. Just so it's easier to deal with. Okay, now if I left everything like that, that's what it would look like on the bottom. It's not something I particularly enjoy. Just the look of it, I don't like the look. So I think I'm going to go with little scissors. It's a little easier to trim here. There's my 1/4 of an inch, and that's gonna house that. It's gonna make it look a lot better. So just mess with this a little bit, because you're gonna have these straight, jagged lines If you just keep working them with your finger in that to rough down any of those edges, those points, make it a little bit more form-fitting. And then, of course, just add your glue and finish it up. And once that's all done, you got the outer done. All it's going to need is some color, and your bow will be pretty much finished. A couple things here and there, but this is like the worst part of it, really, in my opinion. Is this paper stuff. Because the hot glue, I mean, as soon as that cools, it's dry, it's hard. And you're not doing large, or you're doing a good section, but you're not like wrapping stuff and detailing it. It's more just making a frame. This, however, you're detailing a lot of stuff. It's gonna take a long time, and this is the part I don't like. Is the stuff that takes a long time to do. So, but I'm going to sit here, kind of hold this for a little bit, and when we come back, when I get done, when this is ready, we'll start with colorant. So, thanks for watching.